Hey, what's up, everybody? 2025 is a wrap, and we are on to 2026. So, I haven't done any updates on my learn to parawing journey, and I wanted to finally dive into that and give you a little bit of a rundown on everything I tested this year, how much I learned, and how much I progressed. So this is my blog, and this is the 2025 end of year summary. You can check this out. I do this every year to kind of reflect upon, some goals that I set, what I accomplished, what I didn't. Document all of, the gear I rode. Kind of helps give me, long-term data on what size equipment I'm riding, why I'm riding it, and how it's working out for me. Um, yeah, check this out if you want that data. But otherwise, today we're going to talk more about just overall the different gear that I used, how much gear I used, how quickly I was able to progress because of all of the gear I had access to, and where I'm at now at one season into my parawinging. So you can also jump over to here. This is all of the articles I've written, and I went back on a lot of these, and I added notes about parawinging related stuff. So if you've read some of these articles previously, but you wanted to see, more things that are parawing related, there are some notes added in here. So this is a worthy place to check things back out if you want. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some of the data and what I tested and why it was valuable. So first off, I got about 700 miles on parawing this year. That's 1/3 of my total riding this season. And I think in the future we'll probably see that flip with winging. So this year I did about 14 or 1500 miles on the wing, and then about 700 miles on the parawing. And I think in the future I'll probably see 1500 miles parawing, and then 500, 700 miles on the wing. I think that those are going to flip for me, and I'll be doing uh, more parawinging, and I'll be focusing on the bigger days, the bigger conditions with the parawing. Uh, when you're learning and progressing, having access to a lot of equipment is really valuable. And I know I think most riders probably have one board, one foil, one mast, one tail, and, you know, a couple sails to get them out. That is the norm. I have a lot more gear, and I ask for demos and I try different things, and that gives me the opportunity to really accelerate my learning experience. So I'm going to run down now through the gear that I had and how, I'm not going to dive super deep. I think I could probably do an individual video or article on the benefits of each of these, but I just want to say that, having access to a lot of gear accelerates your learning experience and your progression pretty dramatically. At least I think it does. So 3 boards. I learned on a 90 liter, 6.6 by 18. Really, really fun, effective board to get on foil, and that board was great. And then as soon as I felt like I had understood the mechanics of getting on foil with the parawing, I switched to a board that had dims that I liked a little bit more, which is my 77 liter um, 511 by 20, and I'm 86 kilos, just so you know. So the first board that I learned on was maybe +4 +5 kilos, or +4 or 5 liters. Then I stepped down to a -10, and I spent the vast majority of the season on a -10 liter board. And then right at the end of the season, I ran the numbers on the barge factor, the calculation that I use to pick and design new boards, and I grabbed a 6'5" by 1968 liter, which is, approximately -20, and totally fell in love with that board at the end of the season. I'm really hopeful that that's going to be the one for me in 2026. Okay, Next, the foils I tried. In learning to parawing, I tried ultra high aspect foils. I tried high aspect foils, and I tried a lot of medium aspect foils. I want to surf. That's what I want to do. If I'm out and I'm foiling, I want to be surfing. So for me, I have really dedicated my pursuit of this activity around the medium aspect foil. The high and ultra high, they work really good. They give me glide, and I don't have to worry about coming off foil anywhere near as much. I can relax on that front. But I feel very strongly that the experience is better for me when I'm on a medium aspect foil. So of the 10 foils that I tried, a majority of those were going to be medium aspect surf foils. Most of them were from AFS, but I also tried the Code 810X, and I tried the KT Nomad. I think it's the 830. It's the middle-sized one, the 800 something. So I tried a couple more, and then moving forward into 2026, there's two MA foils that I really want to try: the Flight Lab Flux and the F4 Manta. Those are the only two that are on my radar. Tails. Tried 7 tails this year. Tried them on each foil that seemed appropriate. Tried to size them correctly. If you are not familiar with the impact that the tail can have, it's critical to your overall experience on foil. I think that there could be a full video, a full article written up talking about tails and how to size them correctly and what you're looking for. But I tend to see the front foil, the rear, the tail, and the mast as being this foil system where you're trying to optimize your drag allocation. So with the mast, you want zero drag. You want the thinnest, most efficient mast that you can possibly get your hands on, because it's having drag in the mast is worthless to me. There's no value in that. And then the tail, if you want a large front foil, you can go with a really, really small tail to speed that large front foil up, and then it just makes it easier to pump, and you can still keep up with the swell. Whereas when I would ride smaller foils, I would put a bigger tail on, slows me down, keeps me in the energy pocket a little bit better so that I'm not constantly hunting for energy to stay on foil. So tried all those tails. Moving on, masts. As I just touched on, and as I think everybody knows, I've put a lot of energy into learning about masts, recording data on how it impacts my experience on the water. And for 2026, I want everybody in the world to be able to ride a 12 millimeter thick mast. I know that not every brand makes them, but I think moving forward, I'm setting like a barrier to entry for any gear that I try in the future. If the mast is 14 millimeters or thicker, I'm not gonna ride it. It's just not an even comparison to anything else that I'm using. So it's got to be 13.9 or smaller. So that's why the Flight Lab is in there. Their mast is in the 13s. And then F4 has a mast that's all the way down to 11 millimeters now, which sounds absolutely crazy. And then of course all the AFS stuff that I ride on has skinny 12.8 to I think 13.8 is their thickest of the UHM masts. But again, get yourself an awesome mast. It just is something that you can buy. It's perfect, and then you never have to think about it ever again. It's a high performance piece of gear that you don't want to think about, and you don't ever want to have it holding you back, because if you're chasing your tail buying all these different size foils, it's unfortunate, because I think you get a lot more range out of your foils if you have a really high performance mast. Okay, moving on. The Parawings. There's a lot of new Parawings out. There's a lot of new Parawings coming out, and there are a lot of people out there testing, reviewing, and dropping reviews on every single new thing that shows up. I'm not going to do that. I am very focused on just riding what is being reported as the best of the best. I personally think that the Ozone Pocket Rocket was the best by far for this past year. And going into 2026, I'm going to try the BRM Paia in extreme winds. I know that parawing is a little more challenging to use, so I'm only going to use it when it's in the most extreme conditions and I'm looking for faster upwind performance when it's 40 knots. There's that being said, there's also, I think the Pocket Rocket V2 is coming, and then every single brand is dropping something new this year. It's out of control. So if you are, on the edge of deciding to learn to parawing, uh, you'll probably see a ton of gear getting sold off this year as everybody upgrades to the next thing. And then I would bet, once 2027 gets here, I would think everybody will hopefully have something really nice to offer the market from the parawing standpoint. Great. So that's the gear. My biggest takeaways, biggest changes that I had are really that my style changed dramatically with a wing. I'm very aggressive. When I am, like you can see in this image here, and I don't film. I don't take pictures. I don't film. I know I should be better about it, but when I get to the water, I'm just frothing. But I ride really, really, really nice wings, and I am very aggressive when I'm riding with them. But I can't be as aggressive with the parawing because I can't reposition or position perfectly all the time. And with the wing in my hand, I have the privilege of making really bad decisions in favor of getting really good turns. So I can say, hey, I want to absolutely smash these 5 turns, but they're taking me into no man's land where there's no swell and I'm going to come off foil if I'm parawinging. But with the wing, I can make that bad decision and then grab the wing, pull myself back into the right position, and keep going. With the parawing, I think I had more longboard vibes. I was kind of just chilling on the river, having fun, reading swell, getting to know the situation better. And as I continue to progress as a parawinger, I will get more aggressive. It's not to say that I didn't do anything cool or fun with the parawing. You can still turn and throw the tips out, and I was still doing 360s with the parawing. Like, all of that stuff is still doable. It's just not always immediately available to you. You have to pick and choose. You have to be a little bit more in tune with what the swell is doing in order to accomplish those maneuvers. Yeah. My invincible foil, the Silk 1050, after everything I tried, I confirmed that foil I can go out 99% of the time, and I don't ever worry about coming off foil. When the conditions are good, I can usually ride something in the 800 range, and same thing. I don't worry about coming off foil. And then when the conditions are great, the 650 to 700 size tends to work for me really well. I love my new board. That 68 liter 6.5 by 19. It just feels super sporty and fun and light, and I like the concavity of the deck. It's good stuff. Sizes for parawings, I had a 2.4 and a 3 meter. I wish I had a 1.9 and a 3 meter. My advice to anybody who's buying parawings in the future is to spread them out just like you'd spread out the sizing for your traditional wings. If you normally are a 2, 3, 4 winger, I'd recommend a 2, 3, 4 parawing. I'm more picky now with parawinging. The conditions that I go out in are typically going to be really nuking, really, really big, full throttle conditions. I don't desire to go to the small conditions with a parawing. With a wing, I still think small conditions are amazing and super fun, but I don't like trying to master my swell riding with a parawing in tiny conditions. It's just, there's too much pumping. I don't like pumping, and constantly trying to pump and link tiny little bits of swell. That's not mentally engaging for me. Winging is still fun. It's just different. I'm gonna keep doing it, and I think that I'll do more double sessions. I think I'll do more sessions in 2026 where I wing a little bit and then I parawing, or I parawing first and then I wing second, and I'll start, merging that so that I get to have that extremely aggressive high performance of the wing experience, and then I also get to have the flowy longboard, chilled out, um, intellectually stimulating experience of being the parawinger. Okay, so that's kind of the rundown, and then the last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to jump over here, and I wanted to just show you kind of what my overall progression looked like as a parawinger this year. So this map that I'm showing you here, this is the very first time I ever tried to parawing. And I spent 2 hours. This event was 2 hours long, and I covered a total of 7 miles on foil. So this is not what I would call a great session. But if you are learning and you go out and you're like, oh my gosh, I did a 2 hour session and it was miserable. I was barely on foil and I kept falling and I kept getting these tangles, and I don't know if parawinging is for me. Like, if this is where you're at with your parawing journey, don't sweat it. Okay, like you're gonna get there. It's not the end of the world, because if this is mile zero, this is 650 miles in. So I started learning in July, and then this is December. 650 miles later, I started this session, and this is a 50-mile parawing session. And the scale on this map is matched. So if you see down here, 300 meters, 1,000 feet, same exact scale. So this session is 4 hours, just under 4 hours, and 50 miles. And I think I fell in the water one time, which is just such a profound improvement from this first session. So again, when you look at this, if we zoom in, you can tell that this is just a broken cluster of me, floundering in the water, trying to sort things out. And then this is just get on foil, pack it away, ride swell all the way down until I wanted to turn around, and then go upwind and just repeat for a 50 miler. This is super fun. This is where you want to get to, and you will get there. This is, still under 1,000 miles of total experience on the parawing. But I hope that this inspires you. If you're here, if this is your life right now, it's okay, because, give it time, and this is where you're headed. And once you get here, you're going to really have a blast. So that's it. That's all I've got for you on this end of year. I have some ideas. I think that, doing some additional videos or articles talking about like the nitty gritty of the board progression and the foil progression, all that kind of stuff, I think that could be useful. But I also want to ask if there's something that other people think would be really useful. You don't see any good educational content out there about parawinging or winging or foiling in general. If there's something that you specifically would like to see, then please let me know, and I will see if I can put up a video on that. So yeah, otherwise 2026 is here. It's going to get warm in a couple months. I hope you come out to the river and let's go for a ride.